wondered how to make your own healing salve that you can use on yourself or your family? If so, then this is the video for you. Hello, my name is Angela from the website naturallivingalchemy.ca. Welcome to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to share a simple tutorial with you on how you can make your own healing salve. What is a healing salve? So simply put, it is just an oil. In our case, because we like to infuse things around here, it is an infused medicinal oil that is mixed in with beeswax. Okay? Now, I do have a full video tutorial on how to make your own medicinal infused oils right on your stove top. I also have one coming out shortly on how to use an infusing machine. So I'm going to refer you to the videos and the blog post that goes with them, just for a more in-depth explanation on how you can make your own infused medicinal oils. Okay? Now, before we go further, I would just like you to remember something. I'm not a doctor. None of what I say on this channel is medical advice. It is for educational and informational purposes only. So you need to do your due diligence and make sure that you consult your doctor or pharmacist when adding any healing protocols into your routine. One more thing to mention before we really get into the meat of this video, and I'm going to say this in probably almost every one of our videos because it's true. Plants. Since we are going to be using them in our infusions, we need to keep something in mind. They are powerful healers and they deserve our respect. So it's up to you to make sure that the ingredients that you're choosing are safe for the people that are going to be using your medicines. So this means you need to be aware of any allergies that may be present that could be coming from the plant materials themselves or the oil themselves that you plan on using. What do you use healing salve for? Well, the answer to this question is actually going to be dependent on a couple of different things. One, what are you going to use it for? And two, what plant allies are you wanting to use in your formulation? You see, some salves will draw out impurities or toxins from the skin. So they're called drawing salves. And they can help remove things like slivers or infections from a boil. Some salves will promote healing, like the one that we're going to be making today. Some salves have been used throughout history for many things, ranging from a first aid ointment, which is what ours is going to be today, to remedies for just dry or chapped lips. So really, what you're wanting to use it for, the sky's the limit here on what we can actually use these plant allies for. And I'm just going to be sharing some basic steps on how to make your own just to get you started. But by all means, do the way that you are feeling called to do it. Okay? I'll get into more of that shortly, so don't worry. How long does a healing salve last? Well, I cannot guarantee the shelf life. I can give you a couple pointers on how to help yours last longer. And if properly stored, should definitely last for several months, if not longer. Say, for example, you also make like a bigger recipe, because I'm just going to be sharing with you how to just make enough for a 1 ounce tin. Don't worry, the formula is going to be the same if you wanted to make more. But basically, I like to take mine, if I'm making a bigger batch, put it in these little tins, and only be using one at a time. And I just store the rest in my refrigerator. And I found that that definitely helps. But other things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep it out of the sun. Now, for example, if it did sit in the sun and say this melted, okay, or got really soft, you could just throw it back in the fridge, okay? Once that happens, probably okay. Twice, yeah, as long as the color doesn't change and the consistency doesn't change once it's back in its hardened state, yeah, I'd use it. But I probably wouldn't use it if you've let it sit in the sun multiple times, because you might have endangered the integrity of the oils themselves, okay? And we're wanting things to heal. We're not wanting to make them worse. So you're going to want to store it out of the sun, putting it in a little tin or at least a colored jar. That is another good thing that you're going to want to do. And just make sure you're still storing it in a cool, dry place. How do you know if it's still safe and good to use. Basically, if the color changes or begins to maybe fade, get darker, if it starts to smell kind of rancid, it's time to throw it out. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do at that point to save it. I mean, even if you notice the scent is completely gone from how it used to be, I'd probably err on the side of caution and just say any changes in scent or color is a sign that it is not good anymore. Because really, if the scent fades, what other things have faded from this? Okay? It's just something to think about. So we wouldn't really put an expired face cream on our skin, for example. So why would we put maybe a healing salve that has been expired? Okay? So that's about all the information I want to share with you. I will have a full written blog article that accompanies this video that I have linked in the description box below, just so that you can get a more in-depth explanation. For the sake of these videos, I don't like to make them too long because, well, I know you're busy, and I am grateful you do spend this amount of time with me. So let's share our recipe. So to make this recipe today, we are going to need a double boiler. I have mine already boiling, so we're just going to put a bowl, what this is called, on top of that. So typically, our formula is going to be every 1 cup of oil, you're going to add a 1/4 cup of beeswax. Now today, I'm only wanting to make a 1-ounce tin of finished product. So that means we're going to take 1/8 of a cup of oil, and we're going to add a teaspoon and a half of beeswax. Okay, so I'm just going to start by putting my wax in my double boiler. And we're just going to let that start to melt. And then to that, we're just going to add our oil. Just give that a stir. Now, because we do have a very small amount, this doesn't take very long to melt together. You just want to stir it, make sure it's fully incorporated within itself. Now, we want to test it, okay? So what you're going to do is we're going to take a tablespoon of our mixture, and I'm just going to put it here on a plate. And then we're going to throw this plate into the freezer for just a minute or two, and we're going to make sure that it is the proper consistency. Okay, so now that we have been in the freezer for about 2 minutes, you can see it's definitely hardened. You can just kind of see if this is the consistency that you like. If you want it a little bit softer, you're going to want to add more oil. If you want it a little bit harder than this, you're just going to want to put more beeswax in your blend. So it's really depending on what your finished product is going to be as to what the consistency that you're looking for is. But for us, for this one, we are going to be using this for more of if there's a skin break, for example, a cut. So this to me seems good. You can kind of move it around. It's kind of soft. It melts within your fingers. So to me, this is a good consistency. Okay, so since this is the consistency that we want, we're just going to kind of scrape it back in. We don't want to waste any of it. We're just going to let that melt again. Like I said, if you wanted it to be softer, you would just add a little bit more oil. If you were wanting it to be harder, you would just want to add a bit more beeswax. Okay? And I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. All right, so now that we have our desired consistency, all we're going to do is it's time to put it in your storage container. So like I said, I just have a small 1-ounce tin that I'm going to be using. So the bowl can get a little bit warm, so do be careful. We're making healing salves. Doesn't mean we need to go and get ourselves a little burnt, does it? Okay. And then that's it. So, because it is very important for us to make sure that we are labeling everything, and perfection isn't really what we're going for. So I'm going to just be using painter's tape and a Sharpie today. And I'm just going to write what this is and the date. And that's it. You're just going to put your lid back on your tin. And then you're going to just let this cool. Now, if you are using these metal tins, be careful because they get quite warm. But that's it. Give it a little bit of time so it completely solidifies and you are ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this video on learning how to make your own healing salves for you and your family's use. Comment down below and let me know which medicated oil you plan on using in your next healing salve. And if you wouldn't mind, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with anybody who you might feel would benefit from learning how to make their own healing salves. And maybe consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss more videos that I have coming in the future on different medicines that we can make and just different plant allies that are wanting to step forward and share their essences with us. So until next time, may you find peace wherever you are, and I wish you well.